Welcome to Had a Magical Day, the podcast about Disney parks that's like taking a vacation in the middle of your day. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Had a Magical Day. I'm your host, Scott Otto, and today we'll be talking about hotels. We've done a couple of episodes in the past about hotels. We did one on hotels in the parks, and then one on hotels outside of the park. And now that we started to do a YouTube channel, Had a Magical Day YouTube channel, I thought it'd be good to kind of go over both of those in one episode, so you have it all in one place, and you can use it as a resource when you're planning your trips. So you can check, the video will be on the channel for a long time, as well as this audio for the podcast, and you can check it out and compare prices and decide where you want to go. So for the hotels, what we're going to do, we're going to look at, I saw this list online of all the hotels that qualify for the magic hours. Now, it's not really hours anymore. It's just a half hour before the park opens. So any hotel that qualifies for magic hours means you can get to the park half an hour earlier and get in there and go on a ride. Some people like to go right for the rides that have the longest line to get that out of the way. I think sometimes it's going to be better value. You can go on the other rides. You can get two rides in that half hour and get them out of your way, and use your Lightning Lane and Genie Plus for maybe some of the longer lines. But anyways, that's not what this episode is about. This is about hotels. So let's start talking about hotels. So I'm going to break this up into three sections. The first section will be hotels outside of the park that qualify for magic hours. Then we're going to do the hotels inside the park. And then we're going to do hotels outside the park that don't have magic hours, that are like the cheapest options that you can get. So it's kind of middle, high, and low in terms of pricing. Okay, so I'm showing, for those of you listening on the audio, I'm showing a list of all the hotels outside of Disney that qualify for the extra magic half hour as it is. And I'll quickly run down the list here, and then we'll go over each one in more detail. So there's the B Resort and Spa, Lake Buena Vista. There's Wyndham Garden Lake Buena Vista, Wyndham Lake Buena Vista. Another case of a hotel chain having two very close, confusing names for different hotels. And then there's Holiday Inn Orlando, Hilton Orlando Lake Buena Vista, Doubletree Suites by Hilton Orlando, and Drury Plaza Hotel Orlando Lake Buena Vista, Signia by Hilton Orlando Bonnet Creek, Hilton Orlando Buena Vista Palace. Another case with Hilton with confusing names. They have Hilton Orlando Lake Buena Vista, and they have Hilton Orlando Buena Vista Palace, and they are like right across from each other. So very confusing. And then they have Waldorf Astoria Orlando, Four Seasons Orlando, and Shades of Green, which is a hotel, a resort for members of the military or veterans of the military and their family members. All right, so that's a lot at once, and we'll go through them individually. I'm just leaving this up here on the video for a second so people can look at it, and I'll show it again at the end with the prices and the ratings and more information about them. All right, so the first hotel we're going to talk about is the B Resort and Spa, Lake Buena Vista. So a lot of these hotels are in the Lake Buena Vista area, right outside Disney Springs. You can walk to Disney Springs from the hotels, which is a nice option to check out. Also gives you an extra option on shuttles, because you can always try to catch the shuttle to or from Disney Springs and then walk back to your hotel. But most of these hotels come with a shuttle. So for the B Resort and Spa, so what I did for all these hotels, I should say this right up front, is I picked a weekend in the future to compare prices. So you can kind of see how they rate next to each other. Obviously prices change over time, but this is just for comparison. So you kind of know which ones are more expensive than the others. So I picked September 23rd, 24th, and 25th. That's a weekend. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which are the most expensive days to rent a hotel room. But also September is a little bit off peak, although there doesn't seem to be off peak anymore for Disney. But that being said, so these are the prices for September 23rd, 24th, 25th, average price or lowest price for a room with two people and two queen beds. So I did the same settings for all these rooms, all these hotels, so you can have a fair comparison. So the B Resort and Spa, Lake Buena Vista, is $125 a night. Pretty darn cheap. Rating of 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. And they have a shuttle that runs hourly to the park and back. And I have to say, their website looks really nice. You can see the room here. I'm showing right now a picture of the room with the double beds, the queen bed, sorry, 2 queen beds. And also have a picture of the pool. Almost all these places have a pool. Some are nicer than others. Most of them look about the same. So the real key is, the price and the shuttle, because hopefully you're probably not planning on spending a lot of time in the room. But I will point out that some of these places are better for kids and others aren't. The resort and spa seems more themed towards adults. And if you look at their website, they have a really nice website. I don't know why their rating is only 7.0, but it kind of looks like a nicer hotel than some of these other ones on the list that are more expensive. But the amenities, I don't think, are quite as good, even though they did a bang up job on their website, whoever designed that. Okay, the next one on our list is Wyndham Garden, Lake Buena Vista, not to be confused with Wyndham Lake Buena Vista, which is also nearby. And Wyndham Garden Lake Buena Vista is $156 at that time period, and a rating of 7.6, so much better rating than the B Resort and Spa. And they don't have a schedule online. This is schedule at check-in. But given that it's Wyndham and given the location compared to some of these other hotels, I think it's either going to be every half hour or every hour. Here's a picture of one of the rooms, again, with 2 queen beds. And you have a view of Disney Springs out this window, although there's lots of different views that you can end up getting depending on how much you pay. And they have a pool, and it seems like their pool is shared with the other Wyndham, because when I went to the individual sites, they had the same pool picture. So I assume they're sharing the pool. It's actually a couple pools. They have nice cabanas and nice little, some water. It's not really a water ride. It's kind of a bucket that you can see that pours water on you if you want to cool off. So that's a little bit more of a family theme for the Wyndham ones. Wyndham Lake Buena Vista without the garden is $177, so a little bit more. Better rated, 8.2, and the schedule at check-in, same as the other Wyndham, but again, probably every half hour, maybe every hour at the worst. You should call these hotels. That's the other thing I want to point out. If you use one of these aggregator travel sites that have like all the hotels listed, they don't show the shuttles as an amenity. So you have to go to the actual hotel website to check and see if they have a shuttle or not, and when that shuttle comes. And you can also call up if you're not sure. And I've called a couple of these places just to confirm the schedule of these shuttles. All right, so the next one on our list is the Holiday Inn Orlando, which is $179, and it's an 8.8 rating. And it has an hourly shuttle, but you have to make a reservation for it. Which the other ones don't mention that. And this one is run by Mears as well. And it looked like a really nice bus, slightly nicer than the other shuttle buses that I've seen and been on in that area. And the Holiday Inn, it's near the Hilton and the B Resort. And I thought they all shared the same shuttle, at least they did in the past, but it looks like they've now gone to different shuttles. It looks like the Holiday Inn and the B Resort have an hourly shuttle, which might be the same shuttle. And the Hiltons have their shuttle, which is every 30 minutes. So Holiday Inn, you have a room. I don't know why, but they chose on their website to block. All these rooms kind of have the same picture. It's always like 2 queen size bed and then the curtain and the window looking out and like the desk on the right hand side, the bed's on the left. This one, they blocked the view of the window with the 2021 Traveler's Choice Award that they got from TripAdvisor. So again, they have a good rating. They've got an award from TripAdvisor, and the pool looks pretty nice as well. So it seems like a pretty good deal, I'd say. I haven't checked that out. I might check that out. I think I actually stayed there the first time I went many, many years ago. It was a lot different than it is now, but it looks like a really good mid-level option, or even on the cheap side, depending on what your budget is. The next one on our list is Holiday Hill. We just did the Holiday Inn. The next one on our list is the Hilton Orlando Lake Buena Vista. That's $215. So a bit of a jump now from the other hotels. And its rating is 8.4. And as I mentioned before, they have a shuttle that's every 30 minutes, except in the afternoon there's a period where it only is every hour. And then in the evening, it's back to 30 minutes. I have stayed there many times. It's probably my go-to hotel. It's more of an adult version hotel. And it's right across the way from Disney Springs. It's basically kitty corner. So you just go up over the walkway and then you're at Disney Springs as well. And most of these places, they have restaurants and things inside, but the restaurants aren't like the reason to stay at the hotels, although they can be pretty decent. Here you can see a picture of the room for those watching on the video. A little bit nicer for those of you on the audio, a little bit nicer than the Holiday Inn room. But again, it's not something you really care that much about when you're staying there. Although I think, the pool is more important. So I show a picture of the pool. They have 2 pools here and a jacuzzi. This is also fairly common for a lot of the hotels here. The previous ones looked like more they had 1 pool, except for the Wyndham, which looked like they had 2, and jacuzzi. And they also have a pool bar as well. So if you want to spend a little afternoon sitting out by the pool and resting your legs from walking all day, that's always a good idea. So that Hilton Orlando Lake Buena Vista, pretty nice setup for that. They also, for the Hilton, they have this DoubleTree Suites by Hilton Orlando. That's $226, and that has an 8.2 rating and no shuttle listed. I decided to check this out last time I went to Disney in November, and I was disappointed, particularly for the price. Like I said, not as good as a Hilton Orlando LBV, and even some of these others. It's too far to walk to Disney Springs from there, although you could. Definitely more than 15-minute walk. It's probably more like half-hour walk from there. Now this has no shuttle listed, and I think I called them up and they have no shuttle. When I was there, they had the shuttle, but it was only once an hour, and it was only in the morning going to the park and in the evening coming back from the park. So if you came back midday to your hotel, you couldn't get a shuttle to go back out to the park. You had to go get an Uber or what have you. And I think the case may be that the shuttle you had to pay for, except I was a Hilton Honors Gold member, so I didn't have to. And maybe that's why it's not listed on their website. But again, always call the hotel, go to the hotel website and then call the hotel if you have any questions about the amenities. And being a Hilton, it's a little bit nicer. So that's probably why it has an 8.2 rating, even though I don't think it's as good as some of these other hotels that have a lower rating. But it's a DoubleTree. So you have a suite. You do have a suite, you have a living room, you have a little kitchenette, and you have a bedroom. So, if you're going to spend time in the hotel and you want to like make meals and stuff and you have several people, you have kids or whatever, and you want to save some money by having, a meal or 2 at the hotel in your room, then that might make it worth it for you. But you're going to have to pay for a shuttle or some way of getting to the park. And here's a picture of the pool at the DoubleTree. The room was pretty much like all the other rooms, although, like I said, you had more space. The pool, not much to write home about. It's not that big compared to some of the other hotels. So again, not one that I would recommend. The next one on our list is the Drury Plaza Hotel, Drury, for people listening on the audio. Plaza Hotel at Orlando Lake Buena Vista. And they're not open until like 10/27. So there was no comparison there, but as of 10/27, it's $230 a night. So that's why it's in the slot here. There's no rating available for it yet, and no shuttle listed. So, and I believe I called them too. So no shuttle for Drury Plaza Hotel. But check, if things change, you should always check before you make your reservation. The rooms at the Drury seem fairly standard, typical setup of the two queen beds, a desk, and the window with a view. How good depends again on what you buy and how much you're going to pay for. And they have a pool, and the pool seems pretty nice, but nothing spectacular. All right, the next one is Signia by Hilton Orlando Bonnet Creek. Another one of the Hiltons that I've yet to stay at, and I might check that out at some point. But that's the $242 a night, had an 8.6 rating, which is very good. And it's every 30 minutes for their shuttle. And the room has kind of the typical setup. Seems a little classier than some of the other ones, but roughly the same as your typical Hiltons. And the pool, they really didn't have a good picture of the pool at the Signia, but they did seem to have a lot of stuff for the kids. So in this picture, one of the staff members is playing kind of air band with the kids by the pool. And it looked like they had a lot of events for kids there. Oh, one thing I forgot about the Drury Plaza Hotel. So mentioned is $230 a night, and there was no rating available, and it didn't have a shuttle listed. I'm pretty sure I checked; they do not have a shuttle. But what they do have is if you're an annual pass holder for Disney World, you get 15% off your hotels. So that really knocks down the price a little bit and puts it closer to the lower end of this range instead of being on the upper half of the range of hotels that we're looking at outside the park that have the 30-minute magic hour or magic half hour. All right, the next one on our list is Hilton Orlando Buena Vista Palace. This one is also right across from Disney Springs. In fact, this one is closer to Disney Springs than the Hilton Orlando Lake Buena Vista without the palace in the title. And this one is more money. It's $254 and it has a lower rating, 7.8. And I think that's partly because it's more family oriented. So there's a lot of kids there. So if you're traveling without kids, you might not enjoy it as much. The thing that I found there is that it's kind of a sprawling complex. So you can stay, your room can be pretty far away from getting back to the main lobby area to get breakfast and other amenities. So that can take a lot of time out of your day, but it is directly across the street from Disney Springs. So it's easy to get over there if you need to get over there. Also for the kid, like I said, it is very kid friendly. They have a nice lazy river. There are a couple other hotels on this list that have lazy rivers as well. So you want to check that out if that's something you're interested in. And they have a shuttle, and just like the other Hilton shuttle, it is every 30 minutes, except in the middle of the day. Then it's every hour. Hotel room, again, very typical of the Hilton. And they also have a nice big pool for adults, but also for anybody that's not a lazy river. And it's a pretty nice setup. They also give you free sunscreen when you go to the pool, which is nice. The next one on our list after that is the Waldorf Astoria Orlando, and that is $424. And for that price, it gets a 9.0 rating, as you would hope it would. And they have a shuttle every 30 minutes. The room, again, with the 2 queen beds, doesn't look that much different from the Hiltons and the other hotels. But wait do you see this pool that I'm going to put up here for those of you on the audio. The pool looks pretty spectacular, a lot of palm trees. In fact, there's like 2 big pools. There's one very long rectangular pool, and then another one that's a very complicated polygon. And it looks kind of spectacular. So really, what would you expect? It's the Waldorf, so you're going to get what you pay for. The last one on the list, I didn't even bother grabbing pictures of this one. It's a Four Seasons Orlando. It's $1,342 a night at that time of year. A 9.6 rating, of course it better be. And they have a shuttle, didn't have a schedule, said you get your schedule at check-in. So obviously schedules can change, as I've said throughout this episode. So you need to check with the hotel when you're making your reservation. But I imagine it's Four Seasons. It has to be every 30 minutes. If you can afford it, they have everything you want there. A lot of stuff for the kids. They have a character breakfast at the hotel. So that saves you time and money from going to one in the park. All right. So that, and I was going to say that wraps up the ones outside the park that qualify for the magic half hour. But there is one more on my list. It's Shades of Green. I could not get some information on this because this is for veterans only. I went to the website. It's a really nice website. This is for military members and veterans and also family members of veterans who have either died or retired. And so you probably have a pretty good deal on the price. It was not available unless you can prove you're a veteran. And also no rating was available. But their bus every 20 minutes, roughly. You don't guarantee it's every 20 minutes, but that's what their schedule is. So that's a pretty good setup. So if you're a military member or know somebody who is, they might want to check that out. All right, so those were the options for parks outside of Disney that qualify for the Magic Hour. For the parks, for hotels in the park, there's a long list. You probably know a lot of these already. I'm going to go through them fairly quickly, mainly looking at pricing, and then we'll take a little look at the all-star resorts because those are on the cheaper end that you want to see what they look like. So here are all the hotels that qualify for the Magic Half Hour in Disney World. So it's Disney's All-Star Movies Resort, Disney's All-Star Music Resort, Disney's All-Star Sports Resort, and Disney's Art of Animation Resort, and Disney's Pop Century Resort. Campsites at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort, Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort. Let me start doing the prices as we're going through some of these. So for the All-Stars, It's $176 for that time period, September 23rd, 24th, 25th. And they have a rating of 8.6, pretty solid rating. Disney's Art of Animation Resort, 476 and an 8.8 rating. I mentioned Pop Century campsites at Disney Fort Wilderness did not have prices for those for that time period. Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, $337 with an 8.8 rating. Disney's Colorado Springs Resort, a little bit cheaper, $258 with an 8.8 rating. Of course, that is kind of buses only, I believe. Disney's Port Orleans Resort, French Quarter, $286, 8.6. And I should mention for the All-Star Resorts, you only have a bus to get to and from the parks. For Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, you have the Skyliner as well as a bus. All right, the cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort, $417 a night at a 9.0 rating. And Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, $421 a night at an 8.8 rating. Disney's Beach Club Resort, which is over near Epcot, and you have boats, and you can also walk to Epcot from there. Disney's Boardwalk Inn, $964 a night, a 9.0 rating. Disney's Contemporary Resort, no prices available for these. Now you're getting into, these are all similar to Boardwalk Inn. They're all like around $1,000 a night. Disney's Contemporary Resort, Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, Disney's Wilderness Lodge. These are all, $1,000 and up. Disney's Yacht Club Resort, Bay Lake Towers at Disney's Contemporary Resort, Boulder Ridge Villas at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, Copper Creek Villas and Cabins at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, Disney's Animal Kingdom Villas, the Jumbo House, Disney's Animal Kingdom Village. Yeah. Disney's Animal Kingdom Villas, say that 3 times fast, Kidani Village, and then Disney's Beach Club Villas, Disney's Boardwalk Villas, $826 at 8.8 rating. So a little bit cheaper than the Boardwalk Inn. Disney's Old Key West Resort, $389 a night at 8.8. I think when we had my friend Bob Smith on, he recommended that. They had a good time there. Disney's Polynesian Villa and Bungalows, no price available. Disney's Riviera Resort, which is one of their newest and highest end hotels. So that will be up there as well. Disney's up in the $1,000 range. Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa, the villas at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. And then a little bit on the cheaper end here, the Walt Disney Swan and Dolphin. They have the Walt Disney World Dolphin Hotel, which is $323 and an 8.4 rating. The Walt Disney World Swan Hotel is $310 and an 8.6 rating. I stayed at one of them. I'm still not sure which one I stayed at. They look like they're exactly the same. So I'm curious why there's a price difference and a slight rating difference. And there's a new one called the Walt Disney World Swan Reserve, which looks really cool. And that is $323 and a 9.0 rating. So those are all the ones in the park. You know about them. The more expensive ones tend to be the ones that are either near a monorail or the Skyliner. And the cheaper ones tend to be further away from the parks and can only get there by bus or by boat. So I wanted to leave you with one last thing. So those are some options. Some of the ones that were outside the park were fairly reasonable, $125, $170 is not bad for Disney, but even that's too expensive for some folks, which is understandable, especially these days. So let's take a look at some other options outside the park that are even cheaper than the Holiday Inn and the other ones we were talking about earlier. So in general, my advice for this, if you're going to do this, is try to stick to brand name hotels. So take whatever lower end hotel chain that you tend to use, whether it's Red Roof Inn or Motel 6 or whatever, Holiday Inn, Days Inn, and stick with one of those that's just further away from the park till you find one that's in your budget. So I actually went to hotels.com and kind of sorted by their rating and then started to look for like real bargain hotels that you might not have heard of before. And that might be a good suggestion. So the first one that you come across is the Silver Lake Resort, and it's got an 8.8 rating, and it's $77. That's the secret price if you're a hotel.com member, but that's pretty easy to get. Otherwise, it was $99. So still, that's the first one that's under $100. and it's 5 miles from the Walt Disney World area. And I found that to be about the break point in looking at some of these. If you want to get under $100 a night, you're going to be 5 miles away or more. But that's fine. So you just have to have a car or an Uber to get to the park. So the next one we come to on the list is Quality Inn and Suites by the parks. It's 5.6 miles from Walt Disney area. Breakfast is included. It's an 8.4 rating, still very good, and $85 a night. It was $193 total for the 3 nights. So that seems like a heck of a deal. And again, like I was saying, you want to go with a chain that you use or trust or whatever. It seems like Quality Inn is a good option, even though I've never stayed there, because they have a couple of these on this list for under $100. So this is the first one at an 8.4 rating. Seems like a good deal. There's a couple in the low 100s here. I'll throw those in there as well. So there's Westgate Towers Resort, again, 5.6 miles from Disney, 8.4 rating, $119 a night, $296 for the 3 nights. So pretty good deal. And then there's another one a little bit further here, Fairfield Inn and Suites, Lake Buena Vista and Marriott Village. So again, you're going with the brand name, you're getting the Marriott behind it. It's probably a good deal as well that you can trust. Also Residence Inn by Marriott for $129. Very good. But if we go down further, we're going to get below $100 again. We're going to find more Quality Inn. Okay, so here's a couple that I haven't heard of before, but Destiny Palms Hotel Main Gate West, 5.58 miles from Disney, 8.0 rating, $76. Quality Inn again. So I mentioned Quality Inn and Suites, Kissimmee by the lake, 5.2 miles from Walt Disney World, breakfast included, 7.8 out of 10 for $68. Also down here is Rosen Inn, Lake Buena Vista, which I haven't heard of. I don't know what chain they're associated with, if any. 5.4 miles from Walt Disney World area, $68. So those are the ones on the lower end. If you want to check those out, that seem to be fairly good quality. I won't get any lower. There's a few that more on this list, but when we start getting into the 5 out of 10, I don't really want to feel comfortable recommending that to you guys. But that is it. So that's it for the hotels. We had kind of the mid-range stuff that have the magic hours. We had the ones on site that we've talked about before in more detail. So I didn't spend a lot of detail on that. You know what you're getting when you stay there. All-star resorts are probably the best cheap option if you want to stay in Disney. But it seems like for the same money, you can stay off Disney and have slightly better setups or a similar setup. I did want to show you a little bit of one of the art of, actually the art of animation. So I meant to show this before, but the art of animation, and I confused this with the All-Stars when I was initially getting the pictures ready. The All-Star resorts, they all have a different theme. So the rooms are kind of themed to that. All-Star Animation, they just redid. So it's really fun for the kids, but keep in mind, again, that was like $400 a night. So that's kind of mid-range in the park. So you have Art of Animation. They have these really cool rooms with great animation, no surprise. But the pool is really a cool looking pool. And again, they have kind of a couple of them, and they're big. And they have all this great artwork around it. That's kind of like animation come to life. In this particular pool, got all the stuff from Nemo, the turtle, and jellyfish and things like that give it a really great atmosphere. So that's nice if you can afford it, and it's great for the kids. If you have a family and can afford that, that's a good option. But I'm going to leave you with the list again of all the hotels outside of Disney that qualify for the magic half hour. And I'm just going to leave this on the screen for a while for people who are watching the video. All right. So that really kind of brings this episode to a close. This is now the 12th episode. There's 36 episodes we've done. This is the third 12 episode season that we've done. So this is the last one for the summer. It's Memorial Day, so I'm going to take the summer off. I will be posting things to the YouTube channel in the meantime, but that's it for now. And, feel free to send comments, feedback, suggestions for other shows to info@hadamagicalday.com. And we'll see you in the fall. Enjoy your summer. And until then, we'll see you real soon.